Violence has rocked parts of South Africa in the past few days. Locals targeted shops of foreigners. There was rioting and looting. There were concerns that the massive Indian community in South Africa may be targeted as well. This is a case of xenophobia. So far, the attacks have been directed at Nigerians and other African nationals. Here's the report.
Violent scene in South Africa's financial hub, Johannesburg. Shops tortured, property destroyed. At least 10 people lost their lives in the chaos which followed. From Monday to Wednesday this week, rioters in and around Johannesburg targeted immigrants from the other African countries. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was quick to condemn the attacks.
No amount of anger and frustration and grievance can justify such acts of wanton destruction and criminality. There can be no excuse for the attacks on the homes and businesses of foreign nationals, just as there can be no excuse whatsoever for xenophobia or any form of intolerance.
In a tit-for-tat move, angry Nigerians protested the xenophobia in South Africa. But the reply was no less xenophobic.
And then afterwards we will have a moment of silence.
Targeting South African franchises, the protesters threw stones and destroyed property in Lagos.
I'm not happy with the behavior of the South Africans. Each and every time they want to walk up and start killing people. Enough is enough. Nigerians, Malawans are all Zambian, we're all Africans. We are not going to tolerate this nonsense. Enough is enough.
The repercussions of anti-foreigner violence in South Africa has been huge. Not just in Nigeria. Angry citizens and governments across the continent are lashing out at South Africa. Protesters in Lubumbashi city in Congo targeted the South African consulate. Barricades were set up and tires burned to stop South African trucks from entering in Mozambique. There is more. Nigerian pop stars have announced a boycott.
I'm not happy with the behavior.
Air Tanzania suspended flights to Johannesburg. Madagascar and Zambia are refusing to send their soccer teams. Nigeria has recalled its ambassador and pulled out of a major economic forum. South Africa has also temporarily closed its diplomatic missions in Nigeria. It is unclear what ignited the latest round of violence in Johannesburg, but contributing factors include high unemployment and frustration with limited economic opportunities. Some South Africans claim foreigners are pushing drugs into the country. This is not an isolated incident. Several xenophobic incidents have been reported in the past decade. For many, the unrest kindles memories of previous deadly attacks on foreigners in 2008. Africans across the continent had once rallied behind South Africans in the anti-apartheid movement. But with this week's incidents, South Africa is finding itself getting isolated in the continent. Bureau Report, Wion, World is One.